Breaking news here. Breaking Christmas Eve. The Marine Corps maybe gives the best gift or the worst, depending how you look at it, for Stuart Scheller, the Marine officer, now former Marine officer, that has been officially kicked out of the Marine Corps today. And I say kicked out because there's some suspicion that I have. I wonder if I was right about this, because in my last video, I covered a post that Stuart Scheller made on his LinkedIn exclusively and nowhere else, talking about breaking a gag order. Now, in that video, I discussed some of what he said, and in regards to that, I said he's under gag order. He's telling people he's going to be out in mid-January, sometime like that. And as I saw that being, released to the public, I said, this guy is poking the bear. He is poking them over and over and over again. And it's like, it's already been done. What is the Marine Corps going to do? Are they going to clean their hands? Are they going to let this ride out and maybe try and throw him back under some kind of judicial process for breaking the gag order again? If they feed into it, he continues to get publicity. He continues to move forward. If they don't and just get him out, it'll help kill some of that momentum, which I think we've seen, as there are people that have kind of gone against him since he made negative comments against former presidents. Now he has released a new post confirming he is now out of the military on this day. So here it says, it was December 23rd, 1776. The Americans were fighting for liberty and freedom against an old hypocritical government. Up to that point in the struggle, the Americans suffered a series of defeats, but George Washington, undeterred, mobilized his force for a surprise attack over the holidays. The attack on December 26th wasn't decisive, but as history shows, it was a turning point in the war. If you have not known, there are very many cryptic things that Stuart Scheller has gone over. I've covered in other videos. I have a whole playlist that does go into that, but he relates a lot of what he's going through as history repeating itself and kind of explaining why he is backing this way, and kind of falls back on constitutional things in ways that the American nation has been built upon. But he says, to recap my series of defeats after demanding accountability, I was relieved of command, slandered as homicidal/suicidal by the Marine Corps Public Affairs team, ordered to get a mental health evaluation, lied about in the investigation by quotations friends, denied my legal right to prefer charges against another service member beholden to the UCMJ, imprisoned under the false pretense of quotations flight risk, left without basic items in prison for 5 days, offered a legal deal while held illegally in jail, and he says you can't be placed in pretrial for a special court-martial, slandered against when my medical records and investigation were released to the media, fined $5,000, called a narcissist in my letter of reprimand, kept under a gag order for over 4 months, denied the ability to request mass twice, given the lowest characterization of general under honorable conditions, allowed by the plea deal, and lost my retirement. Was it worth it? Well, unfortunately for them, the war isn't over. I think we just arrived at a turning point. The old system underestimated us then, and they underestimate us now. Also, to include a pattern that we're seeing here, it is us. He is trying to unify some kind of unity in this, and that has been very much the point he has been driving to, as he's kind of leading what I believe he thinks is a movement. He talks about revolution. He talks about overhaul the system. He talks about criticism of leadership in general, and pretty much saying this is outdated and it doesn't really uphold what historical findings have seen as far as how America's been created. And as far as a special court-martial, he talks about that. From my limited knowledge of that, that is something that is it is a court-martial, but it's like the least version of court-martial. There's also summary and general courts-martial as well, where his court-martial would have somebody of one officer versus summary would have 3 people that could be judgment for him, and in regards to a general would be 5 personnel on that board. He continues to say, I was released from the Marine Corps today, Thursday, December 23rd, 2021. I'm filled with mixed emotions. I would like to sincerely thank the Marine Corps for forging me into a man. And from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank all Marines who served, led, bled, and suffered alongside me the past 17 years. I'd also like to thank the 40,000 Americans who donated to my foundation while I was in jail. Witnessing Americans of all ethnicities, political parties, and backgrounds donate to my fund fills my heart with love for Americans. Your support not only paid for my lawyers, but will provide stability for my family as I move on to the next chapter in my life. I hope to meet every person who donated and thank them. I promise to spend the rest of my life delivering a return on that investment. I'd also like to thank the thousands of people who called their congressional representative or military leadership on my behalf. Your support was instrumental in enabling my release from the institution. He did have a fund that was over on the Eddie Gallagher Pipe Hitters Foundation, where they raised over $2 million from supporters. And it does look like his attorney, Eddie Gallagher's attorney, had represented also Stuart Scheller, which I would say a high profile case that Eddie Gallagher went through of being accused of war crimes. And now this, he might be the new spokesman for anyone going through a military judicial process, as it seems he's probably well versed and well navigated under military law. Out of respect to my senior leaders, I haven't done a single interview since this began, but now it's my turn. My television media blitz starts with Tucker Carlson on 4 January, leading up to my TV interviews. I plan to make a post a day up to date of my interviews starting with the 26th, the day of George Washington's attack. 2022 is the start of a new year. It's the start of a new generation. The Lions are home from war, and we aren't assimilating anymore. We can't all be wrong. 0-0 mid-game starts now. Admin note, I now have an official website, link below. Also, I've only used Facebook and LinkedIn since this ordeal began. There were many fake accounts previously under my name, but I recently expanded my social media platforms. My platforms are all linked to my webpage. If it is not linked to my website, it is a fake account using my name, which he cites AuthenticAmericans.com. Now, I covered that in my last video, as he did link to that in his LinkedIn profile. But what should be noted is that he had deleted his LinkedIn post for quite a while, and it looks like he backpedaled for some reason. I have no idea why, but now he's officially out, and he's going full force forward with this again. So I'm like, where are we at? Why are we deleting posts? Why are we coming back? It makes it very confusing. Like he gives more details as his interview with Tucker Carlson is going to be airing. He says, in response to Gwen Atkins, Denson says, I'm doing an hour interview with him in his studio. He will cut some of it up for his primetime show on the 4th. The full hour will get streamed on the 5th via Fox Nation. Now, looking at this, there has been criticism, definitely for those that support him and those that are against him, as everything in the world now seems to be divisive. But Derek Nichols says, here's an interesting question. How many Article 92 NJPs do y'all think this dude hammered Marines on? Then turns around and does the same thing. Then folks want to let him off the hook. If this was an E3 or whatnot, y'all would be coming for his head. Is Stuart Scheller part of the higher part of that officer community that had special privileges? Where does that line get drawn? We don't have E3s coming out on a regular basis in uniform doing stuff like this in the exact way that it could be played out. There's never going to be that case scenario. Let me know, where do you think this goes after he's on Tucker Carlson, after he has gone through this and he has made his media rounds? Do you think this flame will die out, or do you think it will continue? Because obviously, it looks like he's trying to build momentum with this new site, and we'll definitely see what happens as this starts to unfold. And I'm not sure if he's got PR people that are doing public affairs with him or how that's working, but I'll be very interested to see where this direction goes, because a lot of people are thinking this is pointing to politics. But as always, if you guys do like what we do on this channel, you can support over at patreon.com for special perks and benefits. On top of that, you can support over at the YouTube join button below this video. And as always, if you guys have questions about this or anything else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. See you next time.